If you're currently applying for a U.S. immigrant visa or planning to apply soon, this update from the U.S. government is something you need to be aware of. The U.S. State Department has announced a change that could delay immigrant visa issuance for certain applicants, even if they have already completed interviews and submitted all required documents. In this video, we'll explain what the State Department announced, who may be affected, and what applicants should expect next. And later in the video, we'll cover the key exception that could allow some applicants to continue processing despite this pause, something many people may overlook. Now, the U.S. Department of State just released an update regarding immigrant visa processing for nationals of certain countries identified as being at higher risk of public benefits usage. According to the notice, immigrant visa issuance for affected nationalities will be paused while the State Department conducts a broader review of how public charge standards are applied in immigrant visa cases. Importantly, this does not mean immigrant visa applications are canceled. Applicants may still submit applications, attend interviews, complete required documentation. However, final visa issuance may be placed on hold until the review is completed. To understand this update, it helps to clarify the term public charge. In U.S. immigration law, public charge refers to whether an applicant is likely to become primarily dependent on government assistance after immigrating. Consular officers already consider factors such as financial resources, employment history, education and skills, age and health. What the State Department is now doing is reassessing how these factors are evaluated, particularly for applicants from countries where statistical public benefits usage has raised policy concerns. This update applies only to immigrant visas. It does not apply to tourist visas, student visas, temporary work visas, other non-immigrant categories. Another important clarification: if an applicant holds dual nationality and applies using a passport from a country not covered by this pause, the restriction does not apply to them. This is one of the most important details in the announcement, and one that could make a significant difference for some applicants. This policy change does not exist in isolation. Since returning to office, the Trump administration has taken a series of steps aimed at tightening immigration controls, particularly around public benefits usage, visa eligibility standards, screening and admissibility rules. The State Department's action fits into that broader policy direction, focusing on self-sufficiency as a key requirement for permanent immigration. Supporters argue this approach protects public resources, while critics warn it may slow or complicate lawful immigration for certain families. If you are affected by this update, here are a few practical points to keep in mind. First, continue with your application unless you are told otherwise. Interviews and document collection are still moving forward. Second, monitor official communications from the embassy or consulate handling your case. Any changes in status will be communicated there. Third, if you have dual citizenship, confirm which passport is being used for your immigrant visa application. And finally, understand that this is described as a temporary pause, not a permanent cancellation, though no specific end date has been announced. The State Department has indicated that further guidance may be released once the review is complete. That could include updated public charge evaluation standards, clarification on affected countries, instructions for cases currently on hold. We'll continue tracking this issue and provide updates as soon as new information becomes available. Now, before we conclude, it's important to note that the State Department has published an official list of nationalities affected by this immigrant visa processing pause. Rather than relying on secondhand summaries, applicants are strongly encouraged to consult the official State Department notice, which contains the full and authoritative list of affected countries, along with the government's explanation of the policy. Checking the official source is the best way to confirm whether this update applies to your specific case. You can find that update directly on the U.S. State Department's website. We've included a direct link to the notice in the video description. If you found this explanation helpful, consider subscribing to U.S. Immigration Update. We provide trusted, clear, and timely updates on U.S. immigration policy and visas, without speculation or sensationalism. Thank you for watching.